everyone. I just wanted to kind of vent and reflect at the same time. I love being able to attend a training on human trafficking, because even though I hear the material and the instructional value for it, I feel like I catch something new every time. Today I was asked a question: How did I come out? How did you get out? And I love that question, especially in a public setting, because I really get an opportunity to give God glory for where He's brought me in my life, and knowing He is the reason I came out. You know, a lot of you know the story how I walked into a church thinking it was another church and met Sister Stephanie that way, now Pastor Stephanie, and how she's been my mentor for the last 7 years. I know that was a God thing, but I also wanted to reflect on something that I've been thinking a lot about, even with the Hope for Human Trafficking event, you know, because we were all asked that question as well, and my answer was language. You know, language is such a powerful thing. And you know, I think about how the serpent tricked Eve in the garden, not just by twisting the word of God, but by getting close enough to her to seem as if he was some harmless serpent. I mean, because if they would have known he was such a threat as a serpent, he would have never been able to even have a conversation with them, because as soon as he would have started talking, they would have stopped it. But because he was already in the garden and probably seen as harmless on many occasions, probably even talked to them on many occasions, but this one time recorded in the Word of God where he twists the word saying, did God say not to eat of that? You know, it was language. And I need to go back to that, because when I met Miss Stephanie, it was her language that she spoke to me that got me. And it was that language that began a process of rehumanizing, basically giving me back my humanity by the way she spoke to me. I can remember being in the clubs, and you know, the word bitch, the word whore, the word slut, it's a common name. You know, hey bitch, that's your best friend. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to hear that all the time was normal. But to hear somebody call me in their greeting and in their welcoming of me, daughter of the King, you are a rare and precious pearl. And even in that, being called rare, my identity still tied to a $sign. I still thought about, what's the cost of a pearl? Isn't a diamond worth more? Because I was just in the process of being able to identify myself apart from a dollar. It took a long time to identify who I am apart from money. And but the process for giving a woman her humanity back, who's been dehumanized by the sex industry, started with language. How people spoke to me, how loving they were, knowing that their intentions weren't of any other ill-mannered intention, knowing that they didn't want anything out of me, knowing that they really did see me as a rare and precious pearl of great price, saw me as a powerful woman of God, when I still saw myself as a whore, when I still saw my worth as only what I had in my pocket that day. And I think about how language was the thing that tripped Eve up too in the garden. Simple conversation. So I'm just reminded today, even for myself, even when I'm talking to my kids, because I'm guilty of that too, speaking language that edifies and uplifts and exhorts and builds up and encourages, because you never know what someone's going through or how they are actually viewing themselves behind their makeup, viewing themselves behind their mannerisms. You don't know how people really view themselves. You know, we think some of the prettiest girls out here have no problems. I beg to differ with that. So just wanted to remind you today, language, it's important.